Here we go. Hey. Guys, listen, I'm not sure what's going on. All right, I'm ready to go. All right, some of you already said you got lots of questions. All right, so here we go. In particular, anybody want me to go over something? Yes. 41. 41? All right, let's see about 41. Okay, yeah. This is something I would think is a really good review question. So I need everybody to take note of 41 and 42. All right. Now, let's say we have no clue what's going on with 41 or 42. Here's how I'd like you to kind of handle it. All right. First and foremost, if we just make an X and Y axis real quick, all right, negative 3, 1 would be over here, and 4, 3 would be somewhere over here. All right, now, just visualizing it, that would be the segment. Now I'm trying to draw the perpendicular bisector. All right, so if I'm drawing the perpendicular bisector, I try to first make it perpendicular, and then I try to move it so it's bisected. So to me, that's the line of the perpendicular bisector. It should be a very easy task. All right. Now remember, in order to write the equation of line, you need a point and you need a slope. All right, well, what is this point right here called? What is that point called? What is that point called? Well, I mean, okay, it might be the y-intercept, but it doesn't have to be the y-intercept. No, it's not called the point of concurrency. All right, the point of concurrency is when three lines intersect at the same point. That's called the point of concurrency. That, very good, is called the midpoint. That is called the midpoint. All right, how do I know it's called the midpoint? Because it was bisected. All right, that line is bisected, which means it's cut in half, which means that red dot is the midpoint for these 2 points. Is everybody with me on that? All right. So it has to go through the midpoint. All right. If it has to go through the midpoint, all right, if you recall, the midpoint formula is when you add the x's and you add the y's and you divide them by 2. That is considered the midpoint. That's the midpoint formula. So come on, get on that. All right. These are little things that are important. All right, so the midpoint would be what? Thank you very much. The midpoint is 1/2, 2. All right. Now the next thing I need is I need to find the slope of this line. Well, the slope of that line is perpendicular to this line. So I need to find the slope of the first segment first. And that slope of this line right here is going to be what? Remember, slope is just the rise over run. I went up to, now keep in mind, for negative 3, 1, and this is 4, 3. Now, of course, I know the formula is y minus y over x minus x. But I'm saying, how did I get from this point here? I went up how many?
2.
I went up 2. And then I went over how many?
7.
There you have it. The slope is 2/7. All right? So then you would say the slope of the perpendicular would be about? Negative 7/2. That is correct. Negative 7/2. All right, and then the equation would just simply be y minus 2 equals negative 7/2 times x minus 1/2. And because it doesn't say a specific form, just leave it in the easiest form. Oh, what does it say? Slope intercept. So now I just have to distribute. All right, so y minus 2 equals negative 7/2 x plus 7/4. And then if I add 2, I'm adding 8/4. So negative 7/2 x plus what? 15/4, I believe. All right, come on now. I expect everybody to be able to do that. All right. Now again, I'm saying that was kind of hard. All right, that was definitely kind of hard. But after I explain it, you should be able to say, okay, that makes pretty good sense. That makes pretty good sense. All right. Because I added 2. Do you agree? And 2 is the same as 8/4. Good. Let's go. Reviewing all the fractions also. That's good. All right. Very good question, Walker. All right. Somebody else now. Those are the types of problems that are important.
27 and 28.
27. Let's look quickly at 27. All right. So again, let's highlight what it says here. P is the end center. All right. So what is the end center? The end center is the inscribed circle, which means it is the angle bisectors. Make sure you're listening to what I'm saying, because there's going to be 4 of them on the next test. You're going to have to be able to tell me the difference. All right? Yesterday we did the circumcenter and the end center. All right? The end center means that it's equidistant from the sides of the angle. All right? So he's asking me specifically about question 27, correct? So PB. So because this is the end center, PB is the same as PD and PF. Thank you very much. Perfect. All right. Anybody have any questions with that? Now it's a matter of figuring out, we have right triangles. So we should be able to, let's go ahead and say this right here. Do we agree this has to be 33 degrees there, right?
Yes.
And we know this has to be 28.5. So everybody with me on that? All right. Now, with that, I need to find 2 sides. This right here, yeah, I think it's a little confusing because I don't know where 14.9 goes. Is that what you're saying? Yeah, so I'm sure it has to be EF. Oh, yeah, that's right. You're right on that. So 10.9 would be on the outside. So if that's 10.9, oh, I see what they're doing now. These triangles are the same. All right, that was kind of tricky. These 2 triangles here, A, F, P, is the same as what? Is the same as this guy over here. Does everybody agree? So then this AF would have to be what? 10.9. Does everybody agree? And then we can find PF by doing 13 squared is equal to 10.9 squared plus x squared. Does everybody see that now? All right, that's another good question too. Or another very good question. Now listen, and I'm only telling you this because, that was kind of hard to see. All right, and if you didn't try it, if you looked at it, just went on your way, all right, you could have looked up the solution, all right, kind of found that. All right, if you thought about it and you don't like to look at the solutions, I get that also. All right, but for those of you guys who just didn't give it a shot because you're looking at it, when you take the test, and I'm trying to tell you right up front, all right, we're not going to have as many tests, so there's a lot more writing on each test. If you're not working these problems, the problems are very similar on the test, except they're harder because why? Because there's more problems that you have to think about. The individual sections should be kind of easy. It's when they mix everything up that it becomes hard. All right, that's why I'm saying you've got to make sure you're following along here and making sure you're doing the problems. All right? Anybody have any other, and what else did you say? Which one?
Here's 28. That's the same kind of thing.
All right, so we're good with that now?
Yeah.
All right. Anybody have any other issues? All right, we have a lot to do again today. All right, I think those were 2 excellent questions. All right, 2 excellent questions, especially the line problem, because that was a very good review. For those of you guys who are going to take standardized tests here pretty soon with your private schools, you're going to have to know how to do that. All right, so believe it or not, guys, I am going to take the homework. I want to see what you did. So let me have the homework. Make sure your name's on it, guys. Make sure your name's on it. And then remember, open up your iPad to the next section, because I'm going to have to read a few things to you. And I didn't really put that on the work. Yeah, whatever you need. All right, here we go, guys. Homework. Thank you. Hey, slide. Hand me that. Will you? Thank you. All right, so now what I want you to do is, today we're on the next lesson, which is 5.2. So I just want you to look up there now, please. Okay, everybody on section 5.2, which I think is something like 335. So we're going to introduce a few new things now. All right. Page 335. No, I mean the reading. I need to read to you some things. The reason why this is the first time I've ever read something to you is because if you don't know what a median is or you don't know what a centroid is, it's kind of hard, all right, to do the homework. So listen to me. Everybody should look on page 335. Just highlight the things that are important. All right. Now, the median. All right. The median is the midpoint of a triangle. All right, of one of the sides of the triangle, the line that's drawn from the vertex to the midpoint. That is called the what? The median. And if I draw all 3 medians, they intersect at a single point. That single point is called the what? The centroid. That is correct. So get in your mind now what a median is. A median is the segment drawn from a vertex to the midpoint of the other side of the triangle. Does everybody hear what I just said? Yeah. And if you draw all 3 medians, they will intersect at a single point. That point is called the what? The centroid. All right. Now, believe it or not, we're not going to spend much time on this, but the centroid is kind of like, if you were to cut out a triangle, you could balance the triangle exactly on the centroid. Or it's sometimes called the center of mass or center of gravity or something like that. Where if you were to cut out a triangle, it would balance exactly on that centroid. All right. Now there's also something interesting. If you draw the 3 medians, the centroids meet up. All right. And then those segments have a special relationship. All right. From the centroid to the side is 1/3 of the entire length of the median. From the vertex to the centroid, it is considered 2/3 of the median. And you'll understand what I'm saying. I'll draw it up for you in a minute. And then from the centroid to the side is half as long as the centroid to the vertex. Everybody with me on that? All right, again, like I said, I just want you listening, because I'll do all the application part in a second. All right, but that's all there is to it. These are just rules, all right, that you're just going to have to know. All right, and now let's go ahead and flip the page. Let's see if there's anything else interesting. Yes, all right. Now, but before we go there, I'm trying to see if there's really anything. No. All right, yes, Walker is correct. Now, the last one that we're doing is the point of concurrency for the altitudes. All right? If you were to draw the three heights in a triangle, they would all meet at the same point. And that point is considered the what? The orthocenter. All right? Now, orthocenter, the way I remembered it was someone told me that ortho, all right, or the root word ortho means perpendicular. All right? So if you're interested in that, that's ortho. So when you take calculus, they'll talk to you about orthogonal as well. It's just a fancy way of saying perpendicular. All right? So again, orthocenter is easy if you know that it has to be the altitude. All right? Now, I've always said out of all four of these, the orthocenter really is of little value. All right? Of little value. The other three, I can see some applications, but for the orthocenter, I really have not seen any of the application for the orthocenter. All right? Now, flip the page for me. They're also occasionally going to ask you to actually find the point. All right? So here's what I want you to remember. To find the centroid, all right? We'll talk about that when we get there. All right, let's continue on now to page 339, and I'm looking at that. So that's just a summary. So I always like to tell kids, if you want to review everything, those are the four that we've studied the last 2 days: the perpendicular bisector, the angle bisector, the median, and the altitude. So bear with me. All right. So let's go ahead and see if we can figure out today's lesson. All right. All right, here we go. All right, so let's see. It says in triangle ACE, P is the centroid. All right, now let's just say P is the centroid. I want everybody to mark on the figure, all right, what is true. All right. AF is congruent to FE. Yeah, I understand what you're saying. All right. If somebody says it's the centroid, this is how you would be marking it. All right. And then you would mark what? BA is congruent to what? BC. And then finally, you would mark CD is congruent to what? DE. All right, because they are medians. So this line right here goes through the midpoint. All right. Now, it doesn't say anything about the angles. It doesn't say anything about it being perpendicular. All right. All it's telling you is that CD is congruent to DE. We don't know that the triangles are congruent. All right. It's possible for them to be congruent, but in this case, they are not. All right. Now, let's see what it says. So it says PF is 6. So here we go. PF is 6. All right. Now, if I mark PF 6, you should automatically be able to tell me what PC is. PC is what? 12. All right. Now, some kids tell me, well, how am I supposed to remember that? They're never going to give it to you where it's not correct. In other words, they're not going to say, if that's 6, then this is 3. Does everybody see that relationship? Right? You should always, if you can remember it's a 2-to-1 ratio, you can easily tell what is twice as big as the other. Is everybody hearing me on that? All right? It's not really that big of a deal. All right? If one, in other words, what I'm trying to tell you is this distance from here to here, get it so you can see it. This distance from here to here always looks smaller than that distance. Everybody see what I'm trying to tell you? And so this down here looks smaller than what? That distance. And the same thing here. that's always smaller than that. So all you have to do is remember it's 2-to-1 ratio. So if FP is 6, then we would say that PC is what? 12, and then FC is what? FC would be what? 18. All right? So that's what they're trying to tell you. If this is X, CP would be 2X, and CF would be what? 3X. That's where they're getting that ratio from. Quickly.
We know that CP is 2x.
How do I know that? Because that's what we said in the lesson. That's what I stood up here and told you. All right? If from the reading today that I read out to you, that's how you know. Right? I said earlier, listen up now. This right here is 1/3 of this, is what I said. And then I said, this is 2/3.
Oh.
So if one is 1/3 and the other one's 2/3, the other one is twice as big. All right? Hopefully that makes a little better sense. All right? Now, did that answer those questions? So we found PC and did we find and AP? Is this what we're trying to find now? Okay, so in order to find that, we have to know that AD is what? So if AD is 15, now normally what I do is I try to tell my kids the quickest way, in my opinion, is if you're given the median, just divide it by 3. Right? Always divide it by 3. If I divide it by 3, then that's 5. Do you agree? So this is 5. So then this right here would have to be what? That would have to be 10. All right. Is everybody with me on this? Everybody good? All right. Now, we have some time. So what I want to do on number 3 is it says an interior design is creating a custom coffee table. Now, does everybody trying to get the idea of what I'm saying here on this? You could actually have a coffee table with one leg if it's triangular. Does everybody agree with that? Right? Because that's what we're saying. That point right there is considered the center, the centroid. Yes, the center of mass. All right, is everybody with me? So now what we're going to do is we're going to try to find that point. All right. Now, what I want to do is we're going to do it the long way first. All right, and then I'll try to show you something. All right, so here we go. So what I want to do is I'm just going to make an X and Y axis. For those of you guys who still have the graph paper I get, you can pull it out. All right, if you want, or you can just kind of watch real quick. All right, I don't mind you watching. So I need some help though. I need the 3 points. Somebody tell me what the 3 coordinates are.
3, 6.
3, 6. So 3. Hold on a second. 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. What else? 3, 4, 5, 2. And what else? All right, somebody double check me and make sure my points are right. I don't want to make a mistake on that. Does that look good? Double check my points. Okay. Right. Now, what I want to do is, this is how the, what, is that right?
I think you're 36
That's all right. That's all right. Thank you, Walker. All right, he's just doing what I asked. All right, so now if I want to draw the median, what I want you to do is look right here for me and tell me if this looks good. That looks like the midpoint to me right there. Do you agree? So then this right here, that would be a median. Do you agree with that? All right. Now, the next thing I want to do is I want to look at I'm trying to see. That looks like a midpoint. Agreed? And so, that makes sense? What? Yeah, we're going to do that. I'm just saying I can look at it and see. Right? And then so if I wanted to, this point over here looks like the midpoint to me right there, right? All right, and he's correct. I'm going to show you, but I'm just saying if we want to, rough it in there, then from here to here, then now I can clearly, not clearly, but you should be able to see if I've done a good job. That's why using a graph paper is the only way to do that. All right, then I could say it's what? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Is that correct? 5, 6, guys? 5, 6 looks like my answer. Do you agree with that? All right. I just counted. That's all I did. So I counted from here, from the origin. I went over. Is that right? 5, and I went up. And that's how I got the centroid, 5, 6. That's all I did. All right. Now, again, obviously, that it just works nicely. Does everybody see that? So that's not that hard, but that's not very scientific. Does everybody agree? I mean, what happens if it was 5.1 and 6.1? We wouldn't be able to know that, right? Yes. So there's several ways, all right? One way is, I think, is a good review for us right now because we need to thoroughly understand lines, all right? I want to know, first and foremost, I want everybody to look up. We're going to find this midpoint right there. All right, I'm looking for this midpoint. And of course, the midpoint is the average. Does everybody agree with that? All right, so if I take the average of those, all right, and this point right here was, help me, 3, 6. And this point down here was,
5,
and the other point up here was what? 7, 10. Is everybody with me on this? All right, so if I take the midpoint, 3 plus 5 is 8, divided by 2 is 4. 6 plus 2 is 8, divided by 2 is 4. So I'm pretty good with that, right? So this point, the midpoint, is 4, 4. Does everybody agree? Remember, midpoint, I always tell kids, remember, midpoint is just simply an average of the two numbers. If you want to be in the middle, you want to find the average. So you add the x's and divide by 2, add the y's, divide by 2. That's how easy that is. Everybody with me? All right. Now, in order to write the equation of line, I need to find a point and I need to find a slope. All right. So right now, I need to find this slope from here to here. All right. Now, from 4, 4, I went up how many?
6.
Please, guys, I want you to be good at this. Pay attention. Now, I'm asking, how many did I go up? Everybody should be saying, I went up what? 6. We don't need the formula, although we could do it. I'm saying I'm going from one point to the other point, so that slope is 6 over. Now, how many did I go over? 3. So that slope is what? 2. Does everybody agree? The slope is 2. So I need the equation of this red line. What's the equation of that red line? Y minus y1 equals m times x minus x1, for those of you guys who forgot. So now someone write the equation. Y minus 4 equals. Beautiful. Everybody okay with that? All right. Now again, the importance of the line is I can't emphasize to you enough. If you're going, man, I don't know what you're doing, you need to raise your hand. What?
Why did you use 4, 4, not 5?
Where is, because I don't know that point is there yet. You with me? You could have said, why didn't I use 710?
Yeah, that's what I was supposed to.
You could use 710, right? Right?
Yeah.
It doesn't matter. You're going to get the same, right? So now if I solve this for y, you're going to get y equals, let's practice our mental math, 2x minus 8 plus 4, 2x minus 4. Come on, guys. I'm expecting you guys to be able to do that. Any issues with that?
I thought you would have used both of them.
No, you do not. You pick one of the 2 points. That's why they call it point-slope form, remember? You need a point and a what? Slope. You don't need 2 points. You need a slope and a point. Would I get the same answer if I chose 710?
Yes.
And of course, the answer would be
I got
yes.
confused.
No, we don't care. We don't care. Shh. One equation is 2x minus 4. Is everybody happy with that? All right. Now, what I want to do is I now want to, please look up. I want to now try to, let's do this right here. I need that midpoint. All right. So, all right, let me point better. This right here, I need that midpoint. So somebody tell me, calculate that mentally. 5, 8. Come on, I don't want the same people answering. Jump in, somebody else. 5, 8. And if I'm telling you now, I can't babysit. If you're not being able to tell me it's 5, 8, you're light years behind us. Is everybody comfortable with 5, 8 now? Join me. 5, 8. All right. Now, the next thing is I need for everybody to do is I'm going to draw. I'm going to make it a little darker too. I need to draw this right here down to here is now called the, it's called the median. Thank you. It's called the median. That is called the median. Now, what's nice about that line?
It's straight.
Yes, thank you for that news flash. All lines are straight. What is the equation of that line? X equals, you're supposed to say it's a vertical line, so that one's easy to write the equation. Let me help you out with that, just in case. That equation is X equals 5. The equation of that red line, of course, is X equals 5. Is everybody happy with that?
I think 5.
Or we could call it straight and be done. All right, X equals 5. Is everybody happy?
Yeah.
All right, now I still want to find that point of intersection. So I have two equations. I already know what the X coordinate is. The X coordinate is
5.
So how do I figure out what the Y value is? You plug 5 in here into that equation. And what is that when I plug in 5? There you have it. All right. So listen to me. What I'm trying to show you there, girls, listen. What I'm trying to show you is the mathematical process of finding the centroid. That's the mathematical process for finding the centroid. All right. Now, there are problems that they're giving you. If you draw it out nicely, it's easy to find just based off observation. Does everybody see? And that's why I really like the iPad, because you can't draw it by hand. All right, you definitely need graph paper. All right? Anybody have any questions with that now? What? Quick.
How do you plug the 5 into
Y equals
Here.
2 times 5 minus 4.
This is the equation. Okay, so what I need you now, listen carefully, please. I'm trying to find the point of intersection. So I drew this line right here, and I drew the red line. You see that? Those points meet at that point right there, which is our answer. Do you agree? So now think back last year, it's called a system of equations. All right, to solve a system of equations, we already knew the X value. The X is 5.
Yeah.
Agreed? So that means I plug 5 into the other equation, and that will tell me what the Y value is.
Okay.
5 times 2 is 10, minus 4 is 6. All right? Now, that, like I said, is the mathematical way. All right? That's the mathematical way. All right? Now, what I want you to do now is the easiest way someone was able to figure out to find the centroid. All right? What I want you to do is list out the 3 points for me again.
7, 10.
Hold on 1 second. Let me change this. So the 3 points are 7, 10. What else?
5, 6,
And 5, 2. Those are the 3 points, right? Now, do me a favor, everybody. Add the X's up. What do I get? 15. And then divide it by 3.
Oh my God.
Add the Y's. divided by 3.
Why can't you just tell us the easy way?
Why can you tell us?
So listen.
It's like
I know.
spend 10 minutes working on a nice
It's kind of
little
annoying.
equation.
Hey, it's kind of annoying. I'm not arguing with you. Again, the centroid is a nice little formula. We could summarize the centroid. The centroid is simply the average of the x's and the average of the y's. Now, before you forget something, when I say the average in this context, there are how many vertices? 3, so you have to divide by 3. If I say I want the midpoint, you're only discussing 2 points, so you're dividing by 2. Is everybody with me on that?
Yes.
All right. So again, I think that's kind of important. All right. So that's the formula for finding the centroid. All right. Now what I need to do is I need to move on because there isn't something so simple a formula for the orthocenter. There isn't something as simple for the orthocenter. But again, I want to check out number 4. All right, please take a look at number 4. All right, and what I want to do here real quick is just for my own purpose. Yeah, here we go. All right, now, again, lots of things I want to show you as far as the orthocenter goes again, so please pay attention, all right? Because again, I always try to tell kids, yeah, remembering the formula for the centroid is going to be okay for the test. But if somebody asks you in a month or two, how do you find the centroid, it might not be as easy to remember that formula. So that's why I think it's important to understand the process, all right? It's the same thing with the orthocenter. There isn't really a formula to find the orthocenter, so you have to kind of review what we've been doing, all right? And let me again show you that real quick, all right? So for us, we're going to make quickly an x and y axis, and then we're going to draw that in, all right? So here we go. Let's graph and double check my work. -3, is it -3, 3?
Yes.
And what's the other point?
-1, 7.
-1, hold on, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and then what else? 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Okay, so there we go. There's the outline of my triangle. All right. Now, again, because we're pretty smart, we should be able to understand this. All right, that your orthocenter is perpendicular. All right, from the vertex to the side of the triangle. So there's one of these that's super easy to draw. All right, and the one that's super easy to draw, hopefully all of you are finding this. All right, this one is this base down here is horizontal, so we know that the height's going to have to be what? It's going to have to be vertical. So the relationship here is pretty simple. All right, that is the altitude. Not much I have to do there because I know what? The slope here is what? 0. So now we would say the slope of the perpendicular would be undefined. It would be undefined. Come on. And so if it's undefined, that just means it's vertical. And because it goes through the vertex, it's easy to draw that line. All right. Now, the other two are not as easy to find. So here we go. All right. So what I want to do is we're going to, right now, you're going to tell me that this, I want you to tell me what the slope of that line is. Now again, somebody, you don't have to talk that much, but just come on, join the class. Somebody who's not usually running their mouth, tell me what the slope of that is. Slope is what? 2. Does everybody agree? Slope is 2. Now because we're talking about the altitude, that means we know that it's going to be perpendicular. Does everybody agree? So if that's 2, the slope of the perpendicular would have to be what? -1/2. So here, that's what I need you to know. The slope of the perpendicular is -1/2. Now, what I want you to follow me on now is this. I am over here at this point right here. Through this point down here, I need to draw a slope that is what? -1/2. Hold up. If I go down 1 and to the right 2, I'm not heading in the right direction, correct? So I'd go up 1 and left 2. Does everybody agree? Up 1 and left 2. So from there, does everybody see that? And so now this is called that's the orthocenter. All right. Now your job, please finish it up. Please finish it up. So that answer is what?
20 through 25.
That answer would be -1, comma, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yes, right up here for those.
Wait, 1 through 15.
Here we go. I'm coming up here for you. 1 through 15, 20 through 25. All right, good job today, guys.
How